Hey everyone, this is Crystal, and today I have another page in my December documented album to share with you, a foundation page that is, since we are not into December yet. So today I want to create a flip up page. So I want this to probably be for the 25th. I'm guessing I'll have a few more photos for the actual Christmas day than I will for most other days in December. So I wanted to give myself space to add in a few more photos without taking up lots and lots of pages. So my idea was to create a kind of flip up of 3x4. So it would be something like this, and then the top one would flip up, and then the next and the next. So I kind of worked out the dimensions of it ahead of time and drew them out very poorly, I might add. This is obviously not at all to scale, but I wanted just to write down the dimensions for what I needed to cut before I actually started cutting, so I didn't make any mistakes. I have this sheet of acetate. This is from We Are Memory Keepers. I've had it for several years. I don't even remember where I got it, but I'm thinking I want to use this as the base of the page. I had used one of the page protectors from the Life Crafted albums to get my basic dimensions. So basically I want to cut this down to that size, and then my 3x4 strips will sit over on this side, and I can punch holes over here. So that's my plan. I'm also thinking that I want to stick to kind of more traditional Christmas colors for this one, since it is going to be for the 25th. So I grabbed some papers from the kit that I thought would work. I'm going to try and use these. If I need to grab from my stash, I'll do so, but I want to try and use these first. So that is the plan. I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and start trimming all of this stuff out.
So I'm going to start by trimming all of these papers down, and I know that that paper that I wrote down the measurements on is really hard to see. It's really washed out on the video, but because I actually wrote it down and because I actually remembered to keep that piece of paper after I wrote it down, I can tell you exactly what the dimensions for all of these papers are. So I'm cutting that transparency, that's going to be my base page. I'm cutting that down to 4 inches by 8¼ inches. That's basically the size of a Life Crafted page protector. And then I'm working out what order I want these other papers to go in. So this is going to be the bottom. I'm cutting that to 3¼ by 8¼ or by 8 actually, since they're 8 inches tall. So it's just short of the height of the page protector. And then the next one is going to be 3¼ by 7½. And the one after that is going to be 3¼ by 6 inches long. And then the final one is going to be 3¼ by 4½ inches long. So those are going to be the dimensions of each of the little flip ups. That extra 1/4 of an inch, so the 3¼ just gives it a little bit of a border around the 3x4 inch cards I plan to put on these, so you can see the paper around them. I wanted to be able to see the papers. And then each of them has a little bit extra because I'm going to create a hinge on all of these so that they can actually flip up on that base paper. So I am just working out this last one here, trying to figure out what paper I want to use. I was paying attention to the cards I intended to use on this as well. Like I said, I do want to add some 3x4 cards to these flip ups. So I wanted the top one to be one that would work with the card I planned on using. So next up, I'm going to grab my little scoreboard, and I'm just going to score a 1/2 inch from the top of each of these little flip ups. So that way I can create a hinge, and each of these pieces will flip up off of that base page. So this is really simple, really easy to do. There are actually lots of different ways you can create flip ups like this. It doesn't have to be this method. I know that there are tons of other ways out there. This is just the one that made the most sense to me when I was creating this, so this is the one I'm doing. All right, now I'm going to start putting this together, and it took me just a second to figure out how I wanted these hinges to work, whether I wanted them each to be kind of individually glued down or whether I wanted the whole thing to be glued down as one piece and then adhered to the base paper, and that's what I decided to do. So it's going to have a rather hefty hinge at the top. It's going to be a bit thick, but because that transparency is actually pretty sturdy, I'm not too worried about it not holding up. I think it'll be just fine. And then that way they'll all just kind of open smoothly and you won't be able to see the hinge on the inside of any of them. So the way I thought I might do it originally was to hinge each one to the one below it, but then you'd see that that little folded over paper at the top, and I didn't want that to show. So having them hinge all on the back piece of paper kind of eliminates that problem. I didn't quite get them straight. I had to adjust them slightly, but that wasn't a big deal. I'm using a tape runner that is pretty easy to peel up right away. It is permanent in the long term, but in the short term you can kind of remove it. So that made that really easy. So I punched the holes in my transparency, and then I'm going to use some pretty strong double-sided tape to adhere this down to the transparency. That's a double-sided tape from scrapbook.com. And that's just going to make sure that it sticks really well. It's going to be a little bit heavy, so I want to make sure it doesn't come off of this transparency sheet. So just adding a bit of extra adhesive there, and then I can stick that down to the transparency. So my plan for the back side of this is probably just to add a full size photo, like the full 3¼ by 8" photo. Or maybe I'll just add some pattern paper this is going to be the last page essentially in my album. So if I don't have anything else to share, then I'll just put a piece of pattern paper and maybe an embellishment on top. But I will leave that till the end of the month to make that decision. Okay, so now that I have basically the base of the page done, I'm going to start working on how I want to embellish this and what cards and other pieces I want to add in. I want to be sure to leave plenty of room for photos, since the reason that I wanted to create this flip up is so that I can share extra photos on this day. And I put 25 on it. And at the time that I made this, we were planning on having our family Christmas on the 25th. I'm not sure that that's the case anymore with everyone's schedules. There's a chance it may not be on the actual 25th, but that's okay with me. I don't care that it's not going to be, or that it may not be on the exact date. The idea is that this is for sharing the day of our family Christmas. So even if it's not on the 25th, having that 25 on the top is not a big deal to me. Okay, so I've got the journal cards in place. I put them at the bottom of each of the kind of flip ups so that you could see them kind of poking out, and I really liked the look of that. So that's where they're going to go. And then there is lots of room on the inside of the top part of the flap to add photos. I can add photos on some of these kind of where the journal like above the journal card there, you can see there's a spot there. So lots of room for photos, lots of room for journaling. I'm just gonna play around with this when the day comes and add things wherever I can fit them. Right now I'm just gluing everything down, and then I did add a tab to the side of one of them just for decoration, not because it really needed a tab. It's pretty obvious you can flip it up, but it was just kind of fun. It said traditions, and we do have a lot of kind of traditions around our family Christmas, so I thought that would be a good place to add that tab. And not gonna over embellish this, because I do want to leave myself room to finish this on the actual day that I'm documenting, or once I have the photos and journaling from the day that I'll be documenting. So I don't want to add too much here, but I do want to give myself something to go off. I don't want to leave it a complete blank slate and then have my, there's a chance I'll be more overwhelmed at the time when it comes to actually make this. So giving myself a little bit of something to go on helps keep me from feeling like I have no idea what I'm doing when I feel overwhelmed and have all of these photos and stories to document. So that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to foundation pages. Okay, so I did decide I'm definitely going to use that 25 die cut. I wanted to pop it up a little bit because, this page needs even more dimension. So I just added a little bit of craft foam to the back of that, and this is not adhesive craft foam, apparently. Oh, no, one side, obviously. No, it's not. It was plain craft foam. So I used my scrapbook.com tape runner, which actually works on the foam. The other one I have does not work on foam, so I grabbed that one out just to adhere that foam down. And then I'm going to add that magic puffy sticker there to the bottom because that seemed like the most appropriate place for that to go in this album. And then that's pretty much going to be it. I'm going to leave the rest of it for the actual day. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this process. There are a few close-up photos coming up so you can kind of see all the details. And I hope that you are inspired to create something similar for your own album. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to head over to the Citrus Twist Kits blog for more details about this page. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks again, and I will see you back here soon.